It opens in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Candy.
Hello, Ashley.
Welcome to our mini in the middle of season 5 and season 6. We're kind of popping in here to give a Minisode to our members.
Absolutely, and we are in a different location.
We are. We're at your house again.
I know, everything's a little different right now.
Yes.
How about this?
Last time we were here was the shark is broken, and we recorded Armageddon here.
Yes.
It's been about a year.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be another fun one, and I think it's also going to be a little nostalgic
Yes.
or personal for both of us.
Yes.
So guys, when Ashley and I were bouncing around ideas for this month's Minisode, we mentioned the idea of doing a field trip since we've not done one in a while. We also mentioned our hope. We wanted to connect it to our month's theme if we could, the monthly theme being big anniversaries.
Yeah.
So here's the good news. Although it will not be immediately apparent, I think we actually are going to accomplish both of those things
really?
in this Minisode, Ashley. Yes.
Okay.
All right, but first, a question. Ashley, would you like to guess where and when the first ever movie was shown at a drive-in movie theater?
Where and when? Was it somewhere in the South? It's warm there,
Not
I would
really.
think. No, not really. Like California then? That would be the next guess.
It was New Jersey.
New
actually.
Jersey!
How about the time frame? You want to take a guess?
Oh, I have to guess in the summer because it would be so cold if you did it in the
Year?
winter. The year? 1950.
All right, here we go. I'm going to read a short excerpt from an article on PBS's American Experience site that's going to answer the question and also give a little extra information. You didn't do too badly. Okay, you'll see. You didn't do too badly with your guess. Quote, the first film ever screened at a drive-in movie theater was British. On June 6th, 1933, just outside Camden, New Jersey, drivers paid 25 cents per car plus an additional 25 cents per person to watch the English comedy Wives Beware at this quintessentially American institution in the open air. The local Courier-Post newspaper had touted the setting as, quote, the first automobile movie theater in the world. Parked in their Ford Model Bs and Buick Series 40s that Tuesday night, the attendees knew that they were participating in a novel experiment, but they could not have known the extent to which the phenomenon they experienced would spread throughout the country in the next few decades.
That's crazy. 1933.
Isn't that
it was
crazy?
Experiment. Wow.
Yes. So obviously our topic for this minisode is drive-ins and the personal connection. We're going to share that. Ashley, actually, this is your very first time to ever be to one, right?
Yes, my mom, I told her that. I said, I do not remember ever going to a drive-in. She said, I am pretty sure that we took you kids when you were younger because it was a way for us all to be able to watch movies without a lot of cost.
Right.
But I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
So yes, I did go to the drive-in last week.
I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that in just a second. Just for sake of flow, though, let me go ahead and finish, if you don't mind,
Sure.
This little story of how it all started. Richard Milton Hollingshead Jr. was the man who invented the drive-in. He had a background with automotives, working in the business his father founded, which focused on selling automobile accessories. At some point, the idea came to him of creating an outdoor theater that used cars to provide an important element of the seating. He applied for a patent in 1932, and a Woman's Day article said that he was inspired by his mother, who found the seating in indoor movie theaters to be uncomfortable.
Aww.
The 1933 drive-in movie experience we just heard about was Richard Hollingshead's first attempt at a test run. He used a Kodak projector and a screen nailed to a tree in his backyard to show the movie. Prior to that night, he had spent weeks experimenting with the layout of his outdoor theater to figure out a way for people in the different cars to all be able to see the screen clearly.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
smart.
that cool? The article said he parked one car in front of the other, and then he would place blocks under both cars' front wheels and adjust their height until the driver in the car that was behind could see. Yep. And so he just experimented until he figured it out. The article goes on to say, although the world's first drive-in movie night was successful, the concept of the drive-in didn't immediately take off. According to that same PBS article, the drive-in's heyday was in the 1950s.
That's why I guessed the 50s.
Exactly. When more than 4,000 screens dotted the American landscape.
So it took 20 years for it to really catch on. What a thing.
Yeah. And a fun fact, many of the original drive-ins were actually referred to as park-in theaters.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. But it also makes sense to call it a drive-in because you drive into the theater.
Absolutely. Well, now, so let's hear about your first ever time at the drive-in.
Okay,
How did you like it?
I liked it a lot. We went to the Sauerbeck Family Drive-In in LaGrange, and it was a really fun experience. We were seeing, guess what, Jurassic Park. But it was also an event for our theater. Our theater sponsored the evening as a way we're trying to do different things to get our name out there for people to know that we have a theater. So we sponsored the evening, and it gave us a certain amount of carloads, and there was people from the theater that went, and they showed a commercial of ours up on the
Nice.
screen, which was for our next season. So that was already exciting.
Yeah.
But it was just more about the feeling of going to the drive-in. I've seen the movie, obviously.
Right.
I know what happens in the movie.
Right.
But it was a perfect night. The weather was perfect. We took Brian's truck. He set up some lawn chairs in the back. We had blankets. And it was such a cool experience to be like, we're out, especially for Jurassic Park, because most of the film takes place outdoors anyway.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
And
atmosphere.
the atmosphere of it, and the moon was full, and you're watching it on the screen. But then my friend Charla, listener, hello Charla, we stood in line for concessions for like
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Are you kidding?
No, but I'm going to say it wasn't bad.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't bad because they pumped in the sound. Most of the time you could just turn around in line. You could still see the screen clearly from their concession stand. And people were just talking. And the fact that we had already seen the movie, I didn't mind that. But we had a great time, and we got a big popcorn tin and went back and watched the rest of the movie. And it was just great. It was just a great experience.
I love drive-ins in general. I've been to Sauerbeck, and I think what you're speaking to, when I was there for the Taylor Swift movie,
Oh, yeah.
all the little kids were standing outside their cars and singing at the top of their lungs, applauding every time a new song would come
Yep.
on. It was such a community feel
Exactly
to it.
that.
Yep.
Exactly that. And when I was in line, there was somebody who spilled their popcorn, and he's like, "Guys, I'm sorry I spilled it. Can you hand me a broom?" And they were like, "Dude," or I don't know what his name was. I forget what his name was, but you could tell he'd been there a lot.
Right.
And he just cleaned up his popcorn that he had spilled. There was nobody complaining because the line was a little bit longer, and it was great. But the community feeling, there were people when we were leaving, we saw they brought a blow up bed, an air mattress,
That doesn't
and the
surprise
kids
me a
were
bit.
just in their pajamas, and they were just
Yes.
sitting there watching, and it felt like, oh, this is just so nostalgic, even though we're doing it in the moment.
Well, interesting that you would say that, because I'm going back to that article again. There was a quote that said, "From the very beginning, Hollingshead had correctly identified one of his invention's key points of appeal. Here, the whole family is welcome," he told the Courier Post, "regardless of how noisy the children are apt to be." According to the National Association of Theater Owners, 549 drive-ins remained in the U.S. in 2020. So I think that speaks to your point about it is so family friendly. It's like kids are welcome.
Yeah, and dogs. We had a friend,
Yep.
one of our friends from the theater, Travis, brought his dogs, Trapper and Hawkeye, and they just, they were watching the movie too.
Absolutely. And people will bring their own food, their own drinks. They don't encourage that, as I
Well, I will
recall.
say,
Yeah.
I'm going to say a plug for Sauerbeck. They say, please don't bring your own food, because and I don't know if this is the same for other drive-ins now. They say most of your money for the ticket is going to Hollywood. We pay our bills by concessions. So I feel like that is the main reason no one was complaining about standing in the long line for concessions, because we're showing you that we're going to support you guys. We understand this is the way you're paying your bills.
Well, that makes perfect sense. And another word about Sauerbeck, they offer Bargain Tuesdays, which means on those particular nights, they show the same films that are offered the other nights, like those first run movies, but at a cheaper price.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they also have their Retro Wednesdays.
Yes, that's what we
That's
sponsored.
what you were there, right? For?
It was Jurassic Park and Jaws was the
Yeah.
second film. We couldn't make it for Jaws. We had to go home.
The other thing I'll mention, they have had a number of special events. They're the ones, I believe this came out in our Nate Bargatze episode, but back in 2020, during the pandemic, Nate Bargatze actually performed a live stand-up routine at the Sauerbeck Drive-In as part of his one-night-only outdoor drive-in comedy tour.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about one other drive-in because this one is special to me. It's located in Georgetown, Indiana. Not surprisingly, it's called the Georgetown Drive-In. And I have watched movies there so many times over the course of my life. This minisode made me think about it. I went there as a child. I went there as a teen. I've been there as a mom. My very first date It was a double date, involved the drive-in.
Aw.
I went with Kirk when I dated him the first time when I was 17, and I went when I was dating him the second time before we got married.
Yeah.
So Georgetown Drive-In is very nostalgic for me,
Yeah.
and this brings in anniversaries.
Oh, yeah.
This drive-in has a very long and impressive history.
The Georgetown Drive-In?
It notes in the Southern Indiana newsletter, quote, "It is the oldest and longest running drive-in in the region, celebrating its 75th season in 2026.
75 years.
I went on the drive-in's website and it said, quote, "Originally a solo screen when it opened in 1951, Georgetown is now a two-screener and one of the few remaining drive-ins which still maintains a playground for the kids.
Oh.
And among other traditional elements, despite having upgraded the audio to stereo FM radio, there are still some working drive-in window speakers here for the nostalgically inclined."
That is lovely. And that's what Sauerbeck, you could tune into the radio. But for people like Brian who have more modern trucks, they turn off after a certain amount of time. So you can't idle. I don't know if there's a way to get around it, but they did have speakers for rent that were not very expensive, but it was first come, first serve. But they had really big ones.
Yeah.
And then they had little ones that you could put inside the car, I guess.
Which is nice because they're thinking of all the
Yes.
different
Issues that could be-
Right, exactly. So with Georgetown Drive-In, which is in Indiana, they have two movie screens that are playing a different
Simultaneously?
Yes, one's they're angled different ways. So you could actually choose to watch this double feature on this screen or the other double feature on the other screen. Or if your timing works out, you could watch the first one here
And then go to the second
move
one.
to the back. Yep. So I was thinking, why is it that we love drive-in so much? You've already mentioned kid-friendly,
Nostalgia.
nostalgic, affordable.
Yeah.
Those are my big ones, right? I'm trying to think, are there any other reasons?
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere. Yeah, the atmosphere.
Because you can go to the movies and you're inside an enclosed space, but there's just something atmospheric about seeing it, especially when it's a nice evening.
Yeah, like out on a blanket or in your lawn chairs. I think the other thing is the community aspect, because I can go back and I can think about like seeing the family beside me, you know, where they're all passing out their snacks, or I can think about the time that we were watching a scary movie and some of our friends came up and like pounded on our window and scared us to death.
No.
You know, or
Yeah.
like you said, that community feel of just being there, kind of all in it together when
Yeah.
you're at the concession stand.
Yeah, it just felt like, oh, I feel safe with these people.
Yeah, we're all just here enjoying this night and this experience together. Yeah. Well, to bring this to a close, I thought I would share with you one other thing that I thought was darling. I was, just skimming around, looking through the different sites, these different drive-ins that we've talked about. And on Georgetown Drive-In's website, they had a little FAQ section. And the question was this simple: how can I contact you?
Yeah.
Here's what it wrote. Part of the charm of the Georgetown Drive-In is when you visit, it's like taking a step back in time. Seriously. To that end, it's not surprising that the owners of the drive-in do not email, text, and have an announcement-only message on their phone line. It's been that way for decades.
Wow.
However, if you need to reach someone at the drive-in for any reason, you can usually speak to the owner any night the drive-in is open.
Oh, you just got to go there and talk to him.
Or you can write them the old-fashioned way, and they give you their
address.
address. Is that not the cutest?
It is.
So I think that's it, Ashley. That's all I had on the
Okay.
drive-in.
It was just a wonderful experience, and I'm really glad that my first movie in my remembered experience was one of my favorite movies. So it was great. I loved it.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed your first ever experience, and this has inspired me. I need to go back.
You
It's
gotta
been
go
a while.
back.
It's been a while,
You
so I
and
need
Kirk
to
should go back for like your anniversary trip in the anniversary year. That would be like double anniversary. That'd be fun.
Well, I'll jot that note down.
Okay, sounds good. I guess we'll see you next month.
Next time. If you love what we do, please rate and review our show or become a supporter through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. Whether a single gift or recurring monthly donation, your support is what allows us to keep the tea brewing.
Subscribe on your favorite podcast app or the Scandal Water Podcast YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Show notes are available at our website, scandalwaterpodcast.com. where you can also access the merch store and more.
This episode was executive produced by Candy Thomas, that's me, and Ashley Raymer Brown.
That's me.
It was researched and written by Candy Thomas and edited by Ashley Raymer Brown.
A special thank you to Josh Martin, who wrote, composed, and performed the Scandal Water theme and other music. Matt C. Adams, who created the artwork, and Joshua Reith, who designed our website and provides ongoing technical support.
As a reminder, this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. The thoughts and opinions of the host during each episode of Scandal Water are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any future guests, advertisers, or clearly professional psychologists. Thanks for listening.